Hey, I'm Mike TV, the band Get Set Go, and I've spent the past few months contemplating the role of an artist. Like, what's my job exactly? Other than making the stuff I make, do I have responsibilities to my audience, to the world? And if yes, what did those responsibilities look like? Let's take the Wayback Machine to 2016, and I'm in conversation with a very dear friend of mine, and we're talking about growing up. And I was saying that it was really strange to me how my relationship with my country and my town and my neighbors has changed so substantially since I was a young boy. Like, there was a point in time when my town literally felt like it was mine. Like, I belonged there, I belonged to it, it belonged to me. And my neighbors were fixtures and they belonged there, and the Denny's down the street and the local Circle K and the mall, and everything belonged. It was part of the fabric of my life. In fact, I remember saying the Pledge of Allegiance in class and saying it earnestly and contemplating every line and feeling like, yes, of course, this is me. I am committing to these ideas, which is crazy, right? Because like this first started happening. Actually, I think I remember thinking these ideas as a 6-year-old in Mrs. Croner's class, which was first grade. And I knew that this pledge, the fact that we were all taking it, all of us together, that it somehow bonded us, that it made us all Americans, and that was special. But my friend, who was a victim of bullying from a very young age, he felt very differently about his classroom. He felt very much apart from his classmates, which is peculiar to me because I too was a victim of bullying and was constantly hectored and beleaguered by my classmates, the ringleader of whom would often set them upon me. But even so, I didn't feel apart from. I've just never been much of a joiner. Like, if the boys were playing kickball and I wanted to play dodgeball, and if I could find no takers, I would just go jump rope with the girls. And apparently, according to the unwritten, unspoken rules of schoolyard behavior, this was a serious breach. And as such, I would regularly be the target of my classmates' ire. So I did understand the bullying dynamic, but not in the way that my friend did. He always felt apart from. He grew up with no friends, like no real schoolhood friends. But I did have friends. Of course, my friends couldn't be friendly with me while we were in class. Of course not, because the lead bully wouldn't allow it. But within the comfort and safety of our neighborhood, I had plenty of friends to play Star Wars with, and G.I. Joe, and He-Man and Mask, and all the other worlds that we would inhabit between school and sleep. But my friend continued to elaborate how his separation from his peers only grew more pronounced the older he got, at least for the bulk of his school years, which were not pleasant. And there was a point in time he realized that just because of who he was, because of the basic fabric of him as a person that I knew to be kind and thoughtful and considerate and hilarious, like an amazing human being, even so, because he was different, because he felt and believed things that were outside the de rigueur of his community, he had neighbors that not only wanted him out of their lives, they wanted him gone. They wanted him erased. For what he represented to them was so beyond the pale that they just wanted him dead. Think about that. Just for existing. And I realized the America that I felt a part of as a young boy, maybe it never really existed. I mean, certainly it didn't for my friend. The melting pot myth, the idea that we could all harmoniously coexist, different races, religions, creeds, perspectives, that every person had a place, every person belonged, that this country welcomed everyone, particularly if they worked hard and were diligent and conscientious. Like, maybe that myth only applied to people that looked and sounded like me. And believe it or not, I discovered that even people that look like me and sound like me, if they have the surname of Torres, which is my surname. Now, of course, I can't roll my R's because I don't speak Spanish. But even someone like me, a white-seeming Mexican-American fellow, I'm still going to run across detractors. I mean, how many times have I cringed when someone asked me to explain my last name? Is that a Mexican name? Is that a Spanish name? Yes, there's a difference, but does it matter? But I knew what they were looking for. Was I part of their tribe? And so the more I thought about it, it felt like my relationship with my country, my state, my town, my neighbors, my people, with the world that I knew and was familiar with, the world that I called mine, that felt comfortable and safe and felt like home, that relationship with that place, with all of this, well, it was changing, and not necessarily for the better. Oh, you've been oh so very cold. I don't know why you you've been so damn cold. I wanna talk to you, but you won't talk to me. I wonder, should I leave? Things have changed, haven't they, my friend? Nothing stays the same, it all changes in the end. But can't we just pretend? Oh, let us just pretend that you still love me. Oh, America, do you still love me? Oh, America, do you still love me? Oh, we used to be the very best of friends. Our futures were so bright way back then. We could do most anything, anything at all. Where did we go wrong? America, do you still love me? Oh, America, do you still love me? And this whole question really shook me to my core. Like, do I have a place here? Can I really consider this place home? Should I? But then oddly enough, this question inspired me to try to unravel this puzzle. What can I do to create a sense of belonging in a world that seems so uncaring, so heartless, and so broken? We're not as young as we used to be, and the things that we learned, we didn't learn for free. It all came at a cost, such a heavy cost. But do you still love me? Oh, America, do you still love me? Do you still love me? Oh, America, did you ever love me? Hey, welcome to Hesitation Cuts Episode 5, the series where I, Mike TV, take you deep into the twisted and heartbroken hellscape that is the life of an indie rocker who has willfully and enthusiastically taken up the Sisyphean challenge of surviving on his wits, his music, and his embarrassing penchant for naked, unabashed, confrontational honesty. On today's episode, we discuss belonging and the responsibilities and expectations of being part of a cohort. What, if any, responsibilities do we have when we feel we are part of a tribe? So before we get too far into this, let me say this. The most common reaction I've encountered when a musician gets political is, "Stick to your music, dude." And over the course of my music career, I've gotten that a lot. And I just want to address that for a moment because I want to argue that maybe your barometer for gauging a musician's perspective might be a bit broken. And I do not intend to disparage, so please let me explain. Now, of course, rich rock stars, yes, of course, they're rich people. They're going to espouse a rich person's perspective. So unless you're rich, you're probably not going to see eye to eye with their worldview, no matter what platitudes and false solidarity they purport. If you're paying a couple $1,000s for a pair of concert tickets, that musician's perspective is probably not going to resonate with you. But if you listen to music that resonates deeply, where you feel that the artist is conveying truth, and that truth is well considered and genuine and earnest, and that truth speaks to your life and your situation, then why do you need their perspective to be put to music before it has relevance? Songwriters are philosophers of sorts. I mean, the best ones are, because they pursue truth. They pursue bald, naked, vulnerable honesty, because it's only the songs that deliver this sort of pure truth that really capture the audience in a way that feels perfect. It's hard to describe. There's not yet a word in English for when a song has bound an audience together in a perfect moment of shared experience, where the moment is so profound it feels pure. Perfect, that's it. Anyway, there's not a word for it, but I have experienced it countless times in my life, having played and attended literally thousands of rock shows. And let me tell you, having written over 1,000 songs, I know what I'm talking about. It's what I'm always trying to capture when I write songs. So if an artist you appreciate can do that, where they can capture your heart and your head and your essence and those of everyone around you and transport all of you into a way of thinking and connecting with an idea or feeling, then why would you discount their perspective on the world when they're not making music? So I just want to leave you with that thought. We're gonna talk about this more in just a bit. But this episode is about belonging and responsibility and about community. And I want to get back to that because this has always fascinated me. And as I said in the opening of the show, I've never really been a great joiner of things. And the reason why is I don't like giving other people that much control over my sense of self-worth. Like the coach of my basketball team my freshman year in high school saw that I was short. So he chose not to work with me. He needed me on the team because my high school was so small that we couldn't field a team without me being on it. But because I was short, he didn't want to play me. And he didn't even want to work with me. And so I felt like I was a bad ball player, which is horseshit. I'm a natural athlete. I love getting better at things I like to do, and I liked playing basketball. I love working hard. I was a skateboarder, a self-trained acrobat. I was very physical. But my coach couldn't see that. All he saw was a short guy. And because I'm adverse to things that make me feel bad, I try to avoid them. I'm constantly digesting and recalibrating and preparing for the worst. And so over time, I learned that joining things for me put me in the position of being vulnerable to the leaders of whatever it is that I've joined. And often those leaders aren't as considerate as I think they should be. They don't contemplate their followers in a way that to me makes me feel seen. And I hate that. So when I join things, certainly I will work very hard, I will be a part of, but I am also always ready to just rabbit out the door. But ultimately, there's really nowhere to run, if you really think about it, because I'm part of the human race. Can't escape that. I joined the human race by dint of being born. So I can't hop into a spaceship and isolate on Mars. I'm also an American. And as a kid, it used to feel like I was a Roman at the height of Rome, which I am certain to my international listeners is the heart and soul of hubris. And I apologize, but that's just how I felt. I felt like I was born in the most powerful and influential country on the planet, and it was my destiny to become powerful and influential. It was my God-given right, And it took literally decades of struggle and being denied what I felt was my God-given right before I realized, oh, maybe I'm not going to be powerful and influential. But fortunately for me, as this was happening, I was documenting this whole process, this whole deconstructing of my architecture of thought, the scaling back of my hubris and my self-entitlement and yes, my arrogance. And I was capturing it in song. And for the most part, my lens was turned inward. I was very focused on what was going on in my heart and my head as this scaling back of expectations was occurring. But it didn't mean that I was absent. The more living I did, the more life experience I garnered, the more I saw my friends and my family, my extended family, my neighbors, just like myself. We were sort of living with our heads in the sand. And moving to Los Angeles from the Palm Springs area, from Palm Desert, man, that was really eye-opening. Because seeing the homeless camps and the poorer neighborhoods and the richer neighborhoods and the way that everyone lived on top of each other without seeing each other, how there could be someone sleeping on a sidewalk a few doors down from a really upscale restaurant and everyone was just cool with that. Man, talk about a crazy sort of cognitive dissonance. But because all 12 million people in LA County accepted it, that's just the way it was. And it started to take its toll. When I first moved to Pasadena, I was working at Universal. And I ended up taking a couple homeless people out to lunch from time to time, you know. And one of these lunches really, really affected me because this African-American homeless fellow asked me for money. And I said, hey, I'm getting lunch at a restaurant called Muse right down the street. Do you want to join me? And he accepted. And so we got to talking. And he was telling me of all the best and safest places in Pasadena to sleep, what parks were safe and what neighborhoods. And as he was eating, he only ate half his sandwich. And I asked him why, and he said he wanted to save the other half for his friend. And so after our meal, I walked with him a bit through Old Town Pasadena. And eventually he found his friend, a woman, a white woman with a little girl. And they were both, you know, the sort of unclean that homeless people get, where it's just sort of ground in. And she was super thankful for the half sandwich. And she and her daughter split it. And I bought them some sodas and some chips at a little pub just adjacent to where they were situated. And we talked for a while. And then we said our goodbyes. And I went back to my life and they went back to theirs. And it's crazy because, you know, the idea that someone else's suffering is someone else's problem is a pretty amazing nullifier of that feeling that maybe I should do something. Like, I've got my own problems, I've got my own struggles, I don't have time to get involved with other people's chaos. It's sort of like I was sticking my fingers in my ears and closing my eyes and going la 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 to drown out the sounds of other people drowning. And man, I've gotten really good at it, you know, sticking my fingers in my ears and going la la la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Hooray for the rockets, we landed up on Mars. Hooray for the telescopes that take pictures of the stars. And everything's advancing, we're getting pretty smart. And the prices have never been lower at your local Walmart. And we sing la 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 la, la la la, la 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 la. La 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 la, la la la. La 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 la. Oh, this is the modern age. We've never been so right. Oh, this is a modern age. What keeps you up at night? La 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 la. La 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 la. Never mind the starving and never mind the sick. Buy yourself a Hummer and that'll do the trick. And the sting of your conscience is only a brick that can be done away with a point and a click. And we sing la 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 la, la la la, la 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 la. La 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 la, la la la, la 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 la. Oh, this is a modern age. We've never been so right. Oh, this is a modern age. What keeps you up at night? War must be more to secure basic medicine. The broke, they must choke on the yoke that has been thrust on them, but don't trust in them. La 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 la. La 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 la. We can clone ourselves a monkey, but the starving they must die. We can map the human genome, but we can't save their lives. And what would we become if we saved everyone? All the dollars wasted on some degenerate bums. And we sing la 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 la, la la la, la 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 la. La 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 la, la la la, la 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 la. Oh, this is a modern age. We've never been so right. Oh, this is a modern age. What keeps you up at night? Oh, this is a modern age. We've never been so right. Oh, this is a modern age. What keeps you up at night? Now, I'm not espousing anything, right? That's the thing about me being an artist. I'm not suggesting a solution. I'm just saying, hey, look at this. This feels like an issue. It feels like a problem. I don't know how to fix it, not the whole problem, but one thing I can do, I can see people for the people they are. I can be kind, I can be present, I can fix one moment, and so can you. We can choose that. We can choose to be better people, not because it gets us anything, not because we get to climb on our moral high horse and feel better than. I mean, seriously, how exhausting is that? But we can open doors and smile and be polite and hand out the occasional dollar because it feels really good to finally do something about the mess in a small, intimate, personal way, a way that tells a neighbor, hey, I see you. You're real people to me. In fact, that's my issue with religious folk. I'm agnostic, meaning I don't believe. I don't not believe. I just don't care. If there is a God, if there is some power that put all of this into motion, awesome. Good for him, her, for whatever it is they did. If this entity is taking an active role in our lives, very weird, but okay. Maybe there's some very obtuse and ineffable plan in motion and I, for the life of me, just can't see it. Sure, maybe. But I can guarantee you that if this entity exists and gave us this amazing planet and these huge brains, I am 100% certain that this God is probably thinking, hey, I gave you so much, like so much abundance. All you need to do is share and take care of each other and this place. This amazing place that I gave you, right? Like imagine if you gave your children a piece of property that was replete with, well, everything, gems and precious metals and arable land and vast oceans and like literally just everything. And you were like, here you go, here's my gift to you. And you made sure they had all the resources necessary to build homes and make delicious food and entertain themselves and the whole shebang. And your kids immediately start fighting and hoarding and leaving trash around and throwing wild parties that end in significant property damage and start tearing up the landscape. You know, I mean, you get what I'm saying. We've been given this amazing gift. Isn't that enough? Shouldn't we focus on what we have and how best to make sure that everyone is incentivized to be part of the family? Because whether we like it or not, we are. All life on this planet, even bears, we've got the same antecedents. Whether you believe in God or evolution or whatever, the origin story all comes down to the fact that we all started. Every living thing started at the same place. We are all homies. So I think about the pain, all the self-inflicted wounds that we as people do to ourselves. Wounds that could have been avoided and corrected and healed. Instead, we just double down, because it's someone else's problem. We're too busy with our own struggles. We don't have time for other people's chaos. And the fuckers that take advantage of this, they know it. They know we're struggling. They know we're fighting for our lives. And they know that we're going to turn a blind eye. They know we're going to assume someone else will swoop in and fix it. That we're waiting for our Savior. Little kids executed by some crazy gunman. 3,000 pederast priests touching little boys. I'm in Bizarro World. I'm in Bizarro World. I'm in Bizarro World. I'm in Bizarro World. 1% controls half of the world's money, while 842 million people need food. I'm in Bizarro World. 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 If you're up there, can you help us, Superman? Of the planet Earth is covered in water, but somehow there's not enough water to go around. I'm in Bizarro World. 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 Superman, if you're up there, set us free. Superman, are you there? Superman, hear our prayers. Superman, help us now. Superman, don't let us down. There go the polar caps, I hope you got a chance to meet them. They seem pretty cool, it's too bad they had to go. I'm in Bizarro World. We're in Bizarro World. Bizarro World.
We're in Bizarro World.
I'm in Bizarro World.
We're in Bizarro World.
I'm in Bizarro World.
We're in Bizarro World.
Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. I'm in Bizarro World.
We're in Bizarro World.
I'm in Bizarro World.
We're in Bizarro World.
I'm in Bizarro World.
We're in Bizarro World.
I'm in Bizarro
We're
World.
in Bizarro World.
Superman, if you're up there, set us free. Superman, are you there? Superman, hear our prayers. Superman, help us now. Superman, don't let us down. You know, maybe the change we need starts in small ways, with little changes that we can actually do daily, just us. Maybe we become a little bit more patient while waiting in line, or while driving in traffic. Not always, not forever, but just for right now, this one time. Just because it, in this day and age, feels like a contrarian, revolutionary thing to do. You know, maybe we become a little bit more generous with the people that would normally drive us up the wall. Maybe rather than a knee-jerk reaction of anger and vitriol, we meet it with humor and humanity and kindness. You know, just to see what happens, because we've certainly tried looking away for a long, long time, and it's really not working. Superman, if you're up there, set us free. Superman, I'm in Bizarro World. 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 Now, of course, if you know anything about my music, I have written a lot of snarky, misanthropic songs. I hate everyone, die motherfucker die, your stupid face, F-U-C-K, and on and on and on. And I mean, it's fun to lean into the frustration and the angst and the vitriol, and I do it way more often than I should. So this episode for me is more like a wish list than an actual prescription for the way I behave. But I know the only change that I can affect in my life that has a possibility of being sustained is small and incremental and easy to accomplish in brief moments. But a whole heck of a lot can be done in a series of moments if they're done with regularity. But I also think it's important to maintain your fighter's edge, right? Being kind doesn't mean being soft. Being friendly and understanding doesn't mean you're a rube. And that's something I think people often confuse, which is silly, because you can be kind and affable and also be a badass. Now, I can only speak for myself, but the best moments of my life have always been rooted in kindness. Someone was excited by my enthusiasm for something, and they opened up a door of opportunity for me. That has happened in my life 1,000 times. Every significant shift in my life was presaged by some act of kindness. The producer Al Burton, Jeff Siegel at Universal Studios, Joe Teresa at Mr. T's, Tom and Suzanne Hayden at TSR Records, Shonda Rhimes at Grey's Anatomy, and the list just continues. All of the successes in my life have been built on a foundation of someone else being kind. So why would I deny putting that back out in the world? And it's crazy because I'm mostly a hermit. It's easy for me to forget this. It's easy for me to forget about being kind and walking softly and loving my neighbor, because again, I get caught up in my own struggles. I don't have time for the world's chaos. But if I'm not a bulwark against the vicissitudes of an uncaring and heartless world, then what guarantees do I have that there will be any protection at all? And if it's all just selfishness and self-entitlement and looking out for me and mine, fuck, man. Is that the kind of world in which I want to live? That sounds exhausting. Just perpetual survival of the most brutal and vicious? Really? That's the game? Because if that's the case, the winner will be the one who cares the least about anything other than winning. Which definitely seems like the game we've been playing for a long time. And that, my friends, is a road that leads to ruin. I mean, do we have to just keep starting over? How many revolutions is it going to take? How frequently must we reinvent the wheel before we finally decide to just keep it rolling, Yes, everything feels fucked up a lot of the time. And right now, just freshly out of a pandemic, dealing with intense inflation and political polarization and the very real threat of climate change, all of the other chaos that is encroaching, it certainly feels that things are pretty tilted. The president's a liar and the people are stupid and no one really gives a fuck. Everyone's a racist, everybody is a liar, and everyone is playing rough. The world is all fucked up, my friend, as bad as it's ever been. And someday soon, the world is gonna end and we'll begin again. The kids are all screwy, the economy's kablooey, and there's thieves at every turn. There's nobody that we can trust, and everybody's getting burned. The world is all fucked up, my friend, as bad as it's ever been. And someday soon, the world is gonna end and we'll begin again. Do 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 over. Do 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 over. The kids are on drugs and the older insane, and there's traffic on every street. Work is for assholes, but everybody's working just to make ends meet. The world is all fucked up, my friend, as bad as it's ever been. And someday soon, the world is gonna end and we'll begin again. Do 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 over. Do 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 over. The cops are corrupted, the prisons are full, and the lawyers are crooked men. Gandhi's been shot, Jesus crucified, and Malcolm's been laid to rest. The world is all fucked up, my friend, as bad as it's ever been. And someday soon, the world is gonna end and we'll begin again. Ba-da-da-dum, boom, boom, ba-da-da-dum, boom, ba-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-do-do-do-do-do. Now, of course, because of the whole Russia-Ukraine thing, the nuclear threat has sort of reared its ugly head again. So who knows if we'll even be here in a year's time. But people will certainly survive, and they will press on, and they will repeat the same fucking mistakes. So for my money, because I can't change the whole world, my plan is to just change a little sliver of it. By me being different. By me being kind and open to new ideas and creating a space for everyone. Even those people I disagree with, especially those people I disagree with, because I want differing perspectives. I want disagreement, and it makes things awesome. It allows me to refine my perspective. Just so long as at the end of the day, the person I disagree with, we can share a beer. Because everyone is important, and every perspective, no matter how arcane or left of field, is important, is crucial. And now we come full circle, because at the top of this episode, I was talking about discounting or ignoring someone's perspective, and I am certainly, most certainly, guilty of that. For the past decade, if someone felt differently about things I cared about, then A, they were horribly wrong and probably not actually human beings, and B, I wanted nothing to do with them. But keeping that up, feeling that way, is exhausting. And I know because I tried. And it requires a lot more ire, way more angst and vitriol and venom than I'm willing to carry around with me. And the more time I spend thinking about it, the more I realize what a shitty world this would be if everyone felt exactly the same way I did about everything. I mean, I want a panoply of perspectives. I just want us all to be civil when we discuss them. I want to know in my heart of hearts that my perspectives are well-reasoned and thoughtful and very much from my personal perspective. But I also know that my life is very different than most others. I shouldn't demand that people feel the way I do about things because they haven't lived my life. If we see eye to eye, you and I, amazing, wonderful, hooray. But if we don't, explain your perspective to me. Let's meet under a flag of truce if we need one. And let's be open and honest and fun and joking. And you explain why you feel the way you do. And I'll explain to you the same. And we can agree that both of us are right for our personal circumstances. That there are thousands, millions even, of differing correct perspectives. And if I offer a perspective that is rooted in fear, maybe you can encourage me to think past that fear. Because as Frank Herbert so adroitly put in his book Dune, fear is the mind killer. And fear forces us to turtle up and draw the walls in around us and protect what's ours. And the deeper the fear, the more I turtle up until eventually I'm just a single person by myself, walled in and untouchable. And that's not safety. That's just heartbreaking. And then once we are sharing ideas and understanding that the world is made up of 7 billion people with 7 billion perspectives, and it's going to be tough getting all of us to agree on anything, maybe then, rather than trying to outsource our salvation to a superhero, we can get busy figuring out ways to make this whole living on a rock hurtling into the far reaches of outer space, a little more pleasant for everyone. Because everyone is important. And waiting for superheroes means we're going to be waiting a really, really, really long time.
Save us from Fox News. Save us from Justin Bieber. Save us from Wall Street. Save us from the Reaper. Save us, Doctor, if you dare. 'Cause we're all dying here. Save us from the crooks. And save us from Facebook. Doctor Who, we're calling you. Doctor Who, we're calling you. Doctor, good doctor, can you hear us calling? Civilization is tumbling, it's falling. Doctor Who, where are you? Save us from the cops. Help us save our homes. Save us from the hate. Save us from our phones. Save us, doctor, if you can. 'Cause no one here has any plan. Save us from our jobs. Oh, save us at any cost. Doctor Who, we're calling you. Doctor Who, we're calling you. Doctor, good doctor, can you hear us calling? Civilization is tumbling, it's falling. Doctor Who, where are you?
I know, I included 2 songs into this episode that are both asking for superhero/divine intervention. I'm just trying to drive home the point that no matter how we slice it, this is our home. Ours. We are responsible. You and me. Not our politicians, not our local leaders, not the billionaires. It's just us. It's our place. And it doesn't take a whole heck of a lot of work to start making it a little bit better. We can be kind. We can do small, good things every day. We can. It's a choice. We don't have to wait for a superhero. We can just come to the rescue.
Doctor Who, we're calling you. Doctor Who, we're calling you. Doctor, good doctor, can you hear us calling? Civilization is tumbling, it's falling. Doctor Who, where are you?
So that's it for the episode, and this is why I think you shouldn't discount the perspective of artists in general and musicians in particular, because we work in the realm of the ethereal, right? I mean, what we do, you can't hold in your hand. It's just sounds that happen over time. But even before we left the womb, we were hearing the rhythm of our mother's heartbeat. Music is built into us. And the best musicians write and sing and perform the truth, their personal truths, and the truths they discover by slogging around this obstacle-ridden place we call home. I can't say that that's what I do, because it's up to each listener to make that assessment for themselves. But I aspire to it every day with every song. It is my obsession. I try to tap into that vein of perfect honesty that lies hidden within the soil of the everyday, and I try to pull it out and smelt it down and turn it into something beautiful. So here are some really compelling thoughts regarding my song Fuck It Whatever Okay by my Patreon patron September McCready, the legendary host of Geek Grills, a podcast and Twitch stream that features a much needed feminine perspective on all things geek. Here she is.
As someone who suffers anxiety and depression and autoimmune stuff like fibromyalgia, well, I'm dealing with stuff all the time. And I'm also that person that everybody else goes to when they're dealing with everything, and I go into crisis mode and I fix it. So for me, when I need something, I've just learned to say, I got this. Fuck it. Whatever. Okay. And your song sets me right again every time I hear it.
Thank you, September. That means the world to me. I mean, it really does. Thank you, thank you. And I will certainly include Fuck It Whatever Okay in a future episode where September will get credit for that as well. And if you too would like to comment on a song that I've written, a song that means something to you, and if you're a Patreon patron of mine, then all you need to do is reach out to me via hesitationcuts@gmail.com and let me know the song, and I'll work with you to create a little quote, and I'll add you at the end of the episode. I know that most people that know what they're doing with podcasts put their Patreon plug right up in the front, and maybe I'll do that at some point in time, but I would like to think that perhaps you, my listener, hear the work that go into each of these episodes, the effort, the fact that I'm recording effectively a full EP for each episode. And I am hopefully getting better at weaving the stories and the songs together, and that hopefully, again, these will only get better. But Patreon is my most stable form of revenue. It has paid my rent for years now, but I don't take vacations. I don't eat out very often. I don't have any luxuries except for the occasional game and a few streaming services. That's it. I work all the time, scrambling to give you something hopefully moving or profound or funny or whatever this podcast does for you. So if you think that's worth buying me a Starbucks Frappuccino once a month, please consider becoming a patron. Thank you. I love you all. Be well. Eat your veggies. Live forever.